You're probably wondering, is Frank Moran on this episode? No, he isn't. No, I love Frank. This is the 7-year anniversary of this show, which is a GHB Spotlight, which was the spinoff of the GH Report from AfterBuzz TV. It came out first earlier in the year, and then GH Report came out later in the year in September. So Frank and I have our own anniversary, and that'll be in September, that we will celebrate live online with you guys, talking about the 7 years we've been together. That's later in the year. But Frank and Lucretia are a very important part of the history of this show, and I'll explain all of that in a second. But I'm James Lott Jr., of course, GHB Spotlight, 7 years. One of my first video things I ever did. I recorded it on my phone. It was very interesting because I did not have a computer, laptop, or anything that I could record from back then. I didn't know what I was doing. I had about lighting. I was new at this. I had just started Audition Days. It was back in those days where I was AfterBuzz TV as a semi co-host. I think by now I think I just joined them this month or next month as a full-time co-host. I know producing stuff. I was just learning as I was going along. And I want to tell you, it's been a wonderful ride. It's been a wonderful ride. It's been just very amazing. And here's the deal. This show was meant to be a companion piece to the GH Report, which I started. It was the first show I ever cast. Now it's with Dean Harvey, Lucretia Lyon, Frank Moran, and myself. That was every Sunday at AfterBuzz TV. So I wanted to create something during the week. So I created GH Spotlight. Lucretia created GH Dirty Deeds. And Frank was going to do something, I think it was kind of like stat or get to the stat or something. He was going to, we just never got there. But Lucretia and I started filming these as pieces. We did a lot of them at AfterBuzz TV to be companion pieces until the show. We talked the show and spotlight characters, and there was literally a spotlight on actors, characters, fun stuff. And it was a very successful show for me on JLJ Media. It was very successful. We did a bunch of episodes. I think season 2 or so, we went to AfterBuzz and tried to do it through them. They in other words, fucked it up. I brought it back to JLJ Media, and I've kept it. When I quit the show, the GH Reports, about 4 years ago, and Carla and Frank continued the tradition. I went on every once in a while. I thought I was leaving the soaps. I was done with the soaps. But I thought the GSP Spotlight was still fun because it was just a few interviews here and there, 3 or 4 minute videos. At the end of this episode here, I have tacked on the first video I ever did. It's like really short. But I actually have it on there. And it was on the Jeromes. That's the first video I chose in 2015. Okay. And what Jeromes are left? Avery is Jerome. Sam's Jerome, and I guess that makes her kids Jeromes. Yeah, there's only a few left. But I did a whole story of the Jeromes, and it did really well for us. And so it's continue. GSB Spotlight 3 years ago when the pandemic hit, AfterBuzz TV went on hiatus, so they went out of business in terms of after shows. And the fans were clamoring for me. They were asking me, well, we need somebody to do an after show. Like, what are we going to do? I bought Frank over, and then Lucretia joined us too, brought them over, and for the last 3 years, this version has happened. So I morphed it into the same thing with the Wide Army Spotlight and Bone Beef Spotlight. GSRD stays the same, but it's become the #1 show on my network. Audio-wise, it's the #1 show on my network. It just crossed the board. It's a huge, one of my longest running shows after Bone Beautiful and after the SOS show at James Lott Jr. It's my second longest running show. I've done, I can't even tell how many episodes of this show. It's so many episodes of the show. And combined with the JH Report, combined with JH Spotlight, all the combined, J3Ds, we say hundreds. We've done hundreds of shows. And back then I know about thumbnails. I just learned as I went along, and we have our audience. You have been so faithful to us. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I scream at you, I yell at you, you scream at me, you talk shit about me, we go back and forth. But I'm telling you, the show's a hit for us. It's a bona fide hit. And we've been on hiatus right now to take care of myself. But we're coming back. We're coming back. It must be wonderful. I remember it's over 100 something episodes. We're audio and video, of course. But I'll never forget the times I was talking about Frizz versus Liaison. The Frizz fans hated me. The Liaison fans loved me. Lots of views and downloads on that. It was kind of crazy time period. Now neither one are, on the show really. But I just remember that was the most controversial time period for me. I've interviewed Steve Burton, which is my #1 GH video of all time. I think it's at, look, I'll tell you guys where it's at. It is at, it's my #1 video it was my #1 video on my channel for the longest time. But now, now it's my #2 video of all time at 18,000, 4 years ago when he came back to the GH. It's between my 2 YNR videos, which are big, but it's my #2 video of all time. It really is. And I think, I'm looking on here, another video I did about him recently is in my top 10 videos of all time also for GH Dirty Deeds. So he's a popular topic. He is. Looking at my top things. It's so funny. Yeah, they all there. There's some popular topics. So again, tops everywhere. It's because of you. And I want to thank the GH Facebook groups, GH Fanatics especially, GH Post What You Want, GH Daily, GH Misfits. You guys are all wonderful. Let me post in there. I like your stuff that's in there too. You're wonderful. Thanks to the GH fans on Twitter. We yell and scream and holler, but we all get together. To our friends like GH Envy, which I've had on the show, GH Envy, 104GH, Pier 54, which is a podcast, General Hospital Night Shift, or Sunday Shift or Night Shift. I'm gonna blank for a second, but I love you. All of that. You guys are all doing GH stuff, GH Stan, everybody's doing wonderful stuff, kind of talking about it. It's a very difficult time, I know, for fans right now on GH. There's a lot going on, much dissension happening, but it's a show that I still love. And I want to thank all the actors over the years who have supported me and come on this show, especially, not just the other one, but on this one too, like Kathleen Gotti, Perry Shen, just anybody. They're just wonderful. We will continue. We'll keep going until I just don't go anymore, but we'll keep going. And thank you for making this show a big hit for me. Now I'm going to actually show you the first episode ever. It's very different. I love you guys. See you later.
Hi, I'm James Lott Jr., and welcome to the first edition of GH, a Mini Spotlight, where I focus on one storyline, one family, from May 22nd, 2015. They are the Jerome family, and on General Hospital, which I love the head writer and the producer. They're from One Life to Live. They're so good. They know how to take comedy, drama, multi-generational storylines, which, they don't forget the veterans, but they do bring in some new folks and the young ones, and they blend them seamlessly together. I mean, there's so much rich history on the show. It's been on 52 years. I've watched it since 1980, so I've watched it for 35 of those years. I know that's kind of crazy. You're thinking, I look like I'm 25. I know, I get it, but there it is. I was watching it for the last 35 years. Friday was a great representation of what they do with a character like Julie and Jerome. The Jerome family was from the 80s and early 90s. And it was a father, son, and daughter. And they brought back the son, of course, by a different actor, William DeVry, who is just the bomb. And he's hot, and he's a great actor. And what he does is, between the writing and him, shows that, like he did on Friday, that he's this big mob boss, but he doesn't want to really be in the mob. He wants to get out. But something always happens, and he's getting back in. So right now, he's in, but on Friday, he announced he wants to get out. He wants to be with his family, as well as family being targets from other mob bosses and families and crime families. And so he wants to get out. He makes this big announcement. It's all because he loses a son. As we know, the son really isn't dead. The baby mama, Olivia, doesn't want the new baby boy to be raised in the mob world. So he told She told him she's dead. He's dead, of course, and is whisking the baby off somewhere far away. So he thinks the baby's dead. Meanwhile, when they brought him back, they gave him a family. They tied him to two very established characters, Samantha Morgan and Lucas Jones, and then they gave him a niece, Kiki, and he's a grandson, and they gave him a girlfriend played by the deliciously wonderful Nancy Legrand, who is just she can read the phone book. I'm just I can watch her for everything. And she plays the conflicted. I shouldn't be with a bad boy, but I am. I shouldn't be with a bad boy, but I am. I shouldn't be with a bad boy, but I am. Of course. But on Friday, she was just a dutiful girlfriend, being there for her man who lost his son. She calls the kids and rallies the troops to be this big family moment, which is kind of great because this is what General Hospital does. They take this kind of impossible situation where he's a mob crime boss, but imbue him with some kind of compassion and love, and it kind of works. And the kids, they each have their own um, versions of having lost something. Samantha lost a daughter. Lucas has lost father, sister. He's had people in his life. Kiki just lost her mother, which is Ava Jerome, which was his younger sister, played by the wonderful Mara West. Love her. And they all came over right away to be there for him. And it felt like I was in the room with them, just kind of eavesdropping, because it was such normal conversation. They were like, we'll just be here for you. We'll sit in the room. You can go do what you want to do, or we can watch a movie. They were just there. And it showed the progression of how far each of them have come with him. Lucas being gay, Samantha just, being the oldest and learning. She used to be a con herself, learning she had a father, and Kiki learning she had an uncle. So it was just a wonderful, well-written episode. And of course, it wouldn't have been complete without the Friday cliffhanger, which is a soap staple. And on Friday, there's a knock at the door. And it's a woman who looks just like his late sister, Ava, Kiki's late mother, Ava, but with a dark wig and a heavy New York accent. Crazy. I won't do it for you, really. I won't do it for you. Asking, anybody gonna give me a drink? And then it's gone. So I can't wait till next week. It's gonna be so excited. I can't wait. So the episode itself really highlighted this new Jerome Empire dynasty family, and it was such a great thing to see. And just the writing, again, just wonderful. The acting, everybody did such a great job in the scene, and it was just a really enjoyable episode. So thank you for watching GH Mini Spotlight. We love General Hospital, and I hope to do some more of these in the future. I'm James Lott Jr. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.